And let me show you why. This graphic tells it all. This race will determine who controls the state Senate. Currently, Republicans hold the power by just one seat. Depending on what happens in this race in November, they will either retain power or Senate Democrats will take control.
I've actually lived in Redmond for over 21 years.
Okay,
I have a 15-year-old son and a 13-year-old daughter.
Okay.
Manka Dhingra, King County prosecutor who supervises a mental health court, a veterans court, and diversion program.
Oh, party are you with? With the Republican Party.
Jin Young Lee England, a former congressional staffer and entrepreneur.
Are you family oriented?
Yeah.
My husband is currently forward deployed in Okinawa, so he's a Marine, so he's not here.
Both are first-time candidates battling it out on the air and on the ground in a race that will determine if Democrats get full control of state government.
One party control of our government is not the most healthy or productive. You know, what happens when there's one party control is that people lose their voice, and it's really political parties that are in control.
There's so much political games being played where people are really not interested in representing the people. And I think that's why I have the level of energy in this campaign, because for voters, they actually have this really unique opportunity because their one vote can change the way we govern.
Dhingra, the Democratic candidate, and England, the Republican in the race, have two different views of what a shift in power would mean for Olympia, the state legislature, and ultimately the voters in eastern King County.
So I'm running to make sure we are going to be fully funding education without raising property taxes.
Well, that's actually a really big one for me. We just got our property tax notice for this year.
This tax issue is becoming very important to all of us.
Some of the issues that we are fighting for, mainly it's about taxes, education, transportation, just making sure the government's doing its job.
Tax talk is dominating much of this race.
When I think about a budget, right, I don't just automatically think we need more money. And I think that's the assumption that my opponent and her party is making, that we need more money.
Yeah, what I would love to do next year is roll back our property tax increase and really take a look at closing some of the many 900 tax loopholes we have in our tax code. And so if we want to make sure we're taking care of people, that's where we start. But it's the Republicans who impose the largest property tax increase on us, not the Democrats.
Dhingra is referencing the state legislature's bipartisan budget deal, which included a big funding boost for education, something celebrated by both sides, but they disagreed over how to get there. Democrats wanted a new capital gains tax. Republicans instead pushed for and passed an increase in statewide property tax. Homeowners expected to see the biggest hikes include those on the east side. While both candidates told me they're opposed to a state income tax, capital gains is where they differ.
I think that's definitely an option we should consider. I would like to consider it after we've looked at closing our corporate tax loopholes. But yes, I think that is a better way to go than the property tax increase that hits every single person on the east side.
I think we need to acknowledge that there is new revenue coming into our state because our economy is booming and the population is growing. And so number two, are we being thoughtful about how we are appropriating those brand new funds that are coming in? And are those appropriations enough to fully fund our priorities in our state?
Ultimately, it will be up to the state Supreme Court to determine whether more is needed to fully fund education in the state, one of several key issues lawmakers must continue to grapple with in the years ahead.
And here in Sammamish, we don't have access to the light rail. We won't ever.
Yeah.
And then where I'm at, I'm on a cul-de-sac on Fingerwood Hill, and there's not even a bus stop.
What this area has wanted for a very long time is public transportation options.
A lot of the people that I talk to, the question they ask is, why is infrastructure not keeping up with growth?
So when asked what can be done to speed the delivery of public transit to the district.
At this point in time, what we can do is really make sure it comes in on time and on budget. And that is something I will be making sure that I'm holding people's feet to the fire and making sure we get that. And really looking to the future.
One of the goals that I have if I'm elected this fall is to bring more transparency and accountability to Sound Transit and to the Transportation Coalition.
Good, what's her name?
Well, we cannot have it where one party benefits and the other doesn't.
In the end, it will be up to voters to decide whose message resonates more. I asked both candidates what inspired them to run.
Well, I have been working on policy issues for the last 20 years. But I have to say our presidential election in November had a lot to do with it.
The most prevailing one is just a sense of, paying forward the gift of being an American.
And we will be putting extended footage from our interviews online. We will also be digging into many more issues during a mini debate later this week here at the King 5 studio. And remember that ballots go out next week. Back to you.